Hello and welcome to Salubrious Skin with Dr. Irene Wellness Revival Edition. Did you know that 65% of us set New Year's resolutions, and by mid-February, 80% of us have actually failed? Why is failure so high? Is it because the goals we set are unattainable? Is it that the time of year has too many temptations? Is it that other people around us are stopping us from achieving our goals? Or is it that the way our brain is wired to fail, to avoid being out of our comfort zone? What's going on? I encourage you to grab a pen and paper and take as many notes as possible, because my life coach, Maria Ganis, is going to share with us all the information we need to know to understand the brain and how we can push through this sensation of wanting to feel comfortable. So for the past 12 months or so, probably even longer, I think, Maria Ganis has been my life coach, and she has helped me through so many roadblocks that I didn't even know existed until various thoughts and beliefs and questions popped up in my mind and really encouraging me to get out of my comfort zone. So to give you a bit of insight, Maria is a personal and business development coach who understands the challenges faced in integrating your work and life as one. Maria assists individuals, parents, entrepreneurs, business owners, teams, and practitioners to connect with their mind, body, and emotional self to create synergies in their life. So welcome, Maria.
Thank you, Irene, for that introduction. Loved it. I'm honored to be part of this wellness seminar you're putting together. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I just thought, when I saw the stats of so many people failing, and in various conversations, people start saying things that they're creating lesser goals because, oh, well, it won't happen. I even had a conversation with a patient the other week, and she's like, I want to lose weight, but I don't want to talk about, any sort of numbers. I don't want to commit myself to anything. And I'm thinking, there's no structure, there's no plan. I said, you need accountability, buddy. You need someone who's going to be by your side to say, get off the couch and let's get moving. And there was nothing in place. So I thought to myself, how many of us actually do this? And how do we need to be better planned and understand how the brain is wired? So my first question is, why? Why is a brain wired to fail? Because that's really mean.
Well, for the brain, it's not wired to fail. The brain's just there to do its job. Okay. And its job is to keep us safe, one, and to provide us solutions.
Okay.
So if we ask the brain, why are you wired to fail? It said, I'm not. I'm just going to do my job for you. So that's all it does. It's how we respond to a lot of the situations and events in our life that whether we fail or whether we succeed. So let's go to the question, why does the brain is wired to fail? So part of the brain, it's literally there to protect us. That's the one part. And John Assaraf, if you remember, he was part of The Secret.
Okay.
And he's also in a book called Neuro Gym. And he puts it nicely. When the brain detects that something is happening outside of its normal range, it triggers the brain's error detection mechanism.
Okay.
So if the brain thinks anything outside its normal range, meaning our habits, our thoughts, our actions, which are all filed away like a little computer in there, it sets up this little button, like an error detection button. So it says, hang on, something's different is going on here. I've connected the dots from the past, 1, 2, 3, and it doesn't make 4 anymore. So what's going on here?
Okay.
So it's basically there to protect us and to let us know that something different is going to happen. How we react is a whole different story to it.
Okay. So would you say that to a certain extent the brain doesn't want different then?
Yes, it wants to keep it in a comfort zone, where you mentioned in one of your questions,
Okay.
Keeping us in that comfort zone.
Okay.
So it's already got all the background knowledge and information to keep us in that comfort zone. And as soon as we want to come out of our comfort zone and do something different, that little error mechanism just goes off and it tells us something different is happening here.
Okay. And
Okay.
so, how do we override that? Or maybe we
Uh,
should talk about our reactions, because you mentioned that a couple times. It's our
mm,
reaction. So is that
mm.
how we? Because you have people who love jumping off cliffs and
Yes,
doing something very excessively different. So
yes.
clearly their brain is still reacting to that change, but their reaction to that sensation is different. So is that essentially what we need to change about our?
Yes, so each person has its own comfort zone.
Okay.
Okay, so each person has its own comfort zone. So let's start with us who are like, we're business owners, okay? So there are times that we've experienced that things just get out of hand, okay? And we want to hide sometimes because we don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
We just want to give up sometimes, run.
Yeah.
That's our fight mechanism. We just want to run and not deal with all the issues. And sometimes we just want to draw our sword and go into battle,
Okay.
without even thinking. So there are just different types of way we react. And this causes us to experience like anxiety, frustration, stuckness, being stuck,
Mhm.
bored, or any other type of negative response. And psychologists all call this a negative kind of bias. It's when our responses to negative events are amplified
Okay.
when compared to our responses to our positive events, given the same proportion. So instead of focusing on the beauty of a sunrise or a sunset, the negative bias taught often in humans is to focus on the threats in order to eliminate them and keep us safe.
Okay.
So sometimes we want to go to that safeness.
Okay. Okay. So
Mhm.
if we want to create some change in 2020 and get out of this safe zone and achieve whatever it is we want to achieve, how do we change that thought process? How do we create that change?
So I mentioned before, like we have this unconscious memory.
Hmm.
So we sometimes don't have to work on it consciously. It's like riding a bike. We've got all the tools that we need to know about riding a bike. We don't always have to constantly remember, pull them out. We just do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes part of our lives and in our lives, our lifestyles, this is what we do. We
Yeah.
just do. And so it keeps us in that comfort zone. And sometimes we just need to break our patterns and our behaviors, our habits, just to step out of that comfort zone.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just a little bit more. Behaviors is something that takes time and people have to be committed to behavior change. But you know yourself that once you've changed some of your behaviors, even though it felt a little bit uncomfortable,
Hmm.
and you had those thoughts, oh, do I want to go down there again?
Hmm.
Do I really want to sort it out? I want to just stay where I am.
Yeah.
But you know that
Yeah.
once you go out of that behavior pattern, you're in a new comfort zone. So at
Yeah.
first it doesn't feel comfortable, but you've created a new comfort zone.
Yeah.
So you've expanded your comfort zone or you've gone into a new one. And this will enable you to do something different. That's
Okay.
when the brain, because it regenerates itself often, you have new neural pathways all the time to use. But it's just you have to make that decision to step out and use them.
Yeah. And that's what really personal growth is all about,
Yeah.
taking your experiences, making those changes, realizing that, you've moved past certain things, you're ready to go to the next level. Like with myself, um, even with exercising now, I'm doing a few different things because I feel, oh, okay, I'm getting a feeling like I'm not progressing anymore and I want to take a next step. And so doing things that perhaps I'm not used to doing always is interesting. It's nerve wracking, but you do it a few times and then it becomes second nature
It's
again.
true. And the
Yeah.
brain remembers the pain. It
Yeah.
remembers the pain. Oh, Irene, don't go there. I've experienced that pain before. Don't
Yeah.
don't put me through this, right?
I did a weights class and I couldn't walk for 5 days. So my brain definitely remembered that.
Exactly. And it's saying, see, I told you so.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Yes. But you know that by
Yeah.
doing that, it'll become your new norm.
Yeah.
So then you can, up your weights the next 4 to 6 weeks,
Yeah.
so to speak. It's the
Okay.
same with weight loss. how many times do people try to lose weight before they actually do that?
Yeah.
And it's one of those things. They will try different diets. They will try cutting out sugar. They will try cutting out gluten. They'll even try cutting out a lot of food. So to the point where they're eating nothing.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is to change your mindset about losing weight, and you find it's easier to lose it.
So with regards to this idea of failure, you know, I
Mm-hmm.
read that book by Napoleon Hill. Gosh, I've had a mental blank of the name now. But Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times before he developed the light bulb. And, you know, I'll put my hand up and say, gosh, if I failed 100 times, I probably would have given up, let alone 10,000 times. So how do we get our head around trying something, whether it's been in the past, whether it's going to be now, you know, trying whatever you want to try to achieve, a goal you've really set out to do, but for some reason there's things that have come in the way, whether children are sick, whether it's your own personal time that you haven't been able to allocate towards making that change. How do you mentally get over that feeling that, gosh, I failed at this and I didn't accomplish it?
Mm-hmm. So we touched on behaviors, which is one way. And the other way is actually changing your own belief system around it. So your brain has connected the dots already.
Mm-hmm.
And it's told you failed 100 times at it, okay? It's probably told Edison, oh, here you go again. But what he did was he always wanted to try something different.
Okay.
And I think if we keep on trying something different, and you know the old saying, if you do the same thing will happen.
Yeah.
It's we do something different. If we cannot see that we are doing the same thing, then we have to look at it closely and say, well, why am I continuing to do this? You got to really question it. Question to get your answers more than anything else. I find that when people are in that place where they don't realize they're doing the same thing, it's often they're not connected to themselves, to their value system. And I think through our coaching, we've always touched on our values. I've always said, Irene, you know, what are your values? It's kind of like reminding you to get back to basics.
Yeah.
Connecting to your values is one way of connecting to your own self, to what you want to do, who you are, and to your purpose in life. Mm-hmm. So when, as an individual, you start connecting back to your basics, your brain comes with you. It says, oh, yeah, I remember that time when you said my values was honesty. So am I being honest with myself right now?
Mm-hmm.
We as humans tend to put our values onto others rather than onto ourselves. So we can be honest with others, but not necessarily with ourselves. It's a little bit harder.
Yeah.
So therefore, you know, be honest with yourself. What is really, really happening here? So if honesty is part of your value set, if education is part of your value set, what else do I need to learn? So Thomas Edison would have been education and learning, one of his values. So what is it I need to learn to get to the next step? Mm-hmm. So that's why he kept on trying. He was just connecting with himself.
Yeah.
He knew he could do it, but he just didn't know how. So he went out and found it. Yes.
So having belief, like you just said, he knew he could do it potentially,
yes.
but just had to find a way. So having that belief in yourself that you can achieve it, you just have to find the right process.
Totally. Yeah. And with goals, and you mentioned that, I think Sarah says we keep on changing goals. Is that what you said with the last podcast?
Oh, we spoke about, I guess, really connecting to your authentic self. So if you're not connected to your authentic self, so if you've got a goal in mind because of other people are expecting that from you, or what society is expecting from you, then you're more likely to fail because it's not really connected to who you are.
Absolutely. Yes. It's connecting to your values, back to your basics.
Yeah, and I remember one thing you've said to me, which has always resonated. It was, I think, the last time we met up before Christmas, and you said, you have this goal, but there are a lot of different roads towards that goal. If that road didn't reach that goal, well, then you just, cut that out and choose a different road. And it's just resonated with me so much every time, I'm trying to figure something out. I'm like, okay, maybe this is just not working. I need to find a different way of doing it. So recognizing that failure in this attempt doesn't necessarily mean failure in the goal. It just means this road to that goal is not going to work for you, and you need to find something else to get to that point.
Absolutely. And Edison, like you said, found 1,000 ways to do it.
Yeah, 10,000 ways.
10,000, sorry. There you go.
A lot of patience, that man.
Yes.
So, okay, I really like that. So basically, having someone to guide you on your journey, I think that's probably been massive for me to have those chats with you over the last, I think it's been more than 12 months, to be honest. I think it's probably been about a year and a half. That's created a lot of change in, you know, the road that I've gone down, both, you know, personally and in my work, you know, generating the confidence and belief in myself to do what I want to do, you know, removing those constraints of, you know, that voice in your head that says, oh no, you're not good enough for this, and having that discussion around it has been huge for me. So if people are trying, it may not necessarily be the process, but they perhaps need, you know, whether it's accountability or guidance or a trainer or a teacher or something that can help facilitate that process to get to that goal.
Oh, absolutely. I always say to people, always try and have your own health team. So your health team doesn't necessarily be the traditional doctors. It could be your coach. It could be your physical instructor. It could be your acupuncturist. So for instance, you've helped me a lot with my physical ailment, shall I say, my liver. You've helped me a lot with my liver. It's feeling happy now. Thank you.
Oh, that's good.
Irene.
Happy liver is a happy body.
That's it. So we always choose our own health team, no matter who it is on there. It doesn't have to be traditional. It could be just out of way. But to get to where you want to go, your goal, you need to have your own health team. And that could be any of those that you mentioned above. You know, just think of your goal and think what it needs.
Yeah. And then just try different stuff. It can necessarily be try different, you know, experts in that area as well. One that resonates with you. You know, personally with me, I've had a lot of business coaches and was even reluctant to, you know, have the connection with you, because I just thought, oh, I don't know if this is the right thing for me. But I thought I'll just give it a go, and it's been a huge game changer for me as far as you know, who I am and understanding, you know, getting out of your head. Also the transition I made from, you know, being business owner to mum to being business owner and mum, you know, that took a huge shift in me. I really struggled. I think when we first met, I was struggling with you know, allocating time to work and you know, wanting to allocate enough time to be there for my son as well. So that had, you know, created a lot of angst in me. So, you know, the growth in me I've seen has been huge. So anyone listening, I really encourage you to speak to Maria or someone who you feel you resonate with, or you need to connect. You can't do this alone. You might have someone in your house that can help you, but a lot of times we don't necessarily do, because we're on different journeys. Sometimes they don't necessarily sync up with people around us. So it's important to reach out, because me and my husband do things very differently, even though we've both got the same goal in mind. Yeah, our roads are very different.
Yes.
So yeah, it's interesting how, you know, people can look at things very differently.
Absolutely.
Okay, so to break it down, so we say that the brain is basically not necessarily wired to fail, but wired to keep us safe. And it's how we respond to this sensation of feeling safe. So we need to kind of push through and create that change that we want to create.
Yes, create that awareness that sometimes the brain just connects the dots, but we as individuals have that opportunity, that thought process to say, well, hang on, well, that happened in the past. Yes, it did. What has come out of the past? What have I learned? And to go forward confidently thinking, well, okay, that's happened there. Let's do something different this time and create a different solution, create a different outcome.
So what you're saying really is to dissect the past experience and see where things went wrong, or what you could have done differently to achieve a different outcome. Okay.
That's right.
That's a good idea, because a lot of people don't necessarily do that. They might say, oh, well, that didn't work, let's move on next, kind of thing.
That's
and not actually learn anything from the previous experience.
True. And at the event will pop up. I always say it, dress differently next time for you to learn that experience.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds good.
Yeah. Until you learn it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So
So
go back to Edison with his light bulb. So he would
yeah.
have learnt what he did wrong in
Yeah.
his last experience and
Yeah.
applied something each time. But
Yeah.
he learnt along the way.
So I
Okay.
guess just popped into my head because you were saying about connecting to your core values. Would you even recommend before setting goals to actually identify what your core values are?
Yes, Irene.
Yes.
Bingo. Thank you.
Yay, I got it. 24
Um,
months later.
um, that will almost guarantee the success of the goal.
Okay.
I know it's a big word, guarantee, but if we apply our values to everything in our life, to all the decisions we make, we find that they are the right decisions for us, which
Okay.
means your goal is guaranteed to success.
Okay.
Okay. So, Dr. John DeMartini, have you heard of Dr. John
Yeah.
DeMartini? He does
Yeah.
a lot of work with values.
Okay.
He's a great one to always, listen to his podcasts and to his videos. And he always says people, even in the ancient Greeks, thought of a word called telos, okay, which means that they had the end in mind. They
Okay.
always had the end in mind. Okay, so Aristotle coined that first.
Mhm.
And then Napoleon referred it to the chief aim. And some people call it the primary objective.
Okay.
So, in a way, that's what your mind, he even says that your brain is geared for telos, which is an end in mind, okay, which is a solution, so
Okay.
to speak.
Okay.
Mm.
All right. So really understanding what your core values are and having an end in mind so that
Yeah.
you can then create more small steps to get to that end result.
Yes. So
Yeah.
if you want to lose weight, but one of your values is not health, so it's not one of your top values and it's down the bottom somewhere, then along the way you need to find somehow something externally to motivate you, because it's not an internal passion or need for you to achieve health.
Yeah.
So to
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
Mm.
So someone might not necessarily have the value of health, but they might have the value of feeling good.
Yeah, or they need to be healthy. So let's say they've
Yeah.
visited the doctor. The doctor says you need to lose weight because
Yeah.
if you don't, you're going to develop this and this and this, or you might not see your children grow up, etc., etc. So automatically there's this need for them to lose weight, but it's not necessarily part of their value system.
Right. I'm with
Part of
you.
the highest, yeah. So it's not
Okay.
even in the top 5. It's probably down the bottom somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So therefore, they needed that doctor to motivate them
Mm,
externally to get healthy.
okay. I guess maybe the motivation will be the value of family.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's so
Mm.
interesting. I mean, we are just touching on a very small snippet and it really delves
Absolutely.
into a huge area. But at least it
And
gets,
see how the brain has opened up different pathways that we could talk about. I mean, that's what it does. And
yeah,
to always be open, have an open brain and mind
yeah,
for to always talk things out and
yeah,
find a solution.
yeah. And having, that's the thing I think has changed for me is having that person to talk to openly and comfortably. And, it's the process of talking out loud that helps you problem solve, I find. So
Oh, yes.
even if it's not necessarily something that I hear, it's just the fact that I'm saying it out loud, I'm hearing it, will then, you know,
Yeah.
create the connections in
Sure.
my brain.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. So hopefully that's a good insight into people to get started on and recognize that along this wellness revival and beyond February and through the year and in subsequent years to come, that any sort of failure or obstacle that they come across, they just need to reevaluate where they're at, what the connections are to their value system, and how they can choose another path if that one's not working so that they can achieve that end goal in mind.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Well, that was good.
Oh.
Well, if anyone wants to connect with you, Maria, how do they get about reaching out to you? I think that's important to mention at this.
Email me is the best way. So it's maria.ganis@bigpond.com.
Okay.
It's the best way to connect with me. and we'll take it from there. And you can have all my other details once you've emailed me. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, sounds good. Okay, so that's it from us today. I hope you enjoyed this special episode of Salubrious Skin with Dr. Irene for a wellness revival. And if you've got any questions, let us know in the comments below, or you can email me at info@salubre.com.au. Stay tuned for our next episode. Now that's going to be most likely me on nutrition. And then later on, you'll be hearing from Sarah Nugent, who's our fitness trainer. So any questions, let us know, because the more questions you ask, the more opportunities you have to learn and get through any obstacles that you're facing, whether it's now or later on, and we're here to help. So hope you enjoyed the show today, and I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.
Thank you, Irene. Bye.
Bye.